What's good, Chad? It's Wednesday. We're back after missing a week, but we won't skip a beat. We've got a very special guy here with me, the Gooch.
Yo, what's up?
How's it
Just a
going, man?
quick little message. See if
Oh,
you can see that.
you
Yeah, there
guys
you
should be
go.
watching Coyote Ugly. There you go.
I had to sneak it in.
I think you missed one last night. Did we get one last night?
Yeah, we did. We snuck one in last night.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we got it in.
Snuck one in.
Yeah.
Like the way you said that. We got special guests everywhere. Great show tonight. Coming up, let's bring in Lady B.
Hi guys! I'm so excited. This is so good. I love this show, and I felt like honoring the ladies of the Willow World with my hairdo today.
Nice.
They're rocking the messy buns.
The Willow World. There you
Willow
go.
World. Hold on. Ooh. So yes, the first episode we're gonna cover is 6, and that's it's kind of like ladies' night.
Yeah, like
A little
almost
bit.
like there's too many women in this episode, like women talking. But it's good. It's good.
It's true. Speaking of too many women, we have Squeak Mouse.
Squeak.
I don't know if I'm too much woman.
No,
I think Lady
never
B
enough.
No, I don't know. Okay. This is a lot.
But it was I loved the part about the tea house. Like I loved seeing the evolution of it. I loved it.
It's
And
good.
what it was really about.
What it was really about, exactly, yeah. And then we got one more guest to bring in. 2 more, actually. We got Sketch. Welcome, Sketch.
Hello again. Hello.
Thank you.
Greetings,
for coming
everyone.
back. Great to have you. And then, last but not least, our lore master, Shieldwall Dragons.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me on, Zax. It's great to talk about this show. It's so awesome.
It's great to have you back. You actually know this stuff. You know the story in Japan, and
Yeah, it's pretty good. And
pretty good.
yeah, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I think it's going to see it all the way through. It's going to come finish up strong.
I've seen some people who don't like it, and I have a hard time with that. Like, I can see maybe you don't think it's the best show of the year or whatever, but to think it's not good, that's a tough argument to make, I think.
What are their arguments?
That it's somebody said it was too historically accurate, so it was like that you could track what was going to happen because of history. Like, okay, but you don't have to do that. They use different names. That's up to you. And we find out in 7 that they do change directions from history. So it's not all written out for us. And it's a weird take.
That's so dumb. That is the dumbest argument. Like, I know what's gonna happen when I watch Rome, but it still makes the unfolding of the story interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's the writing, the production value, the interpersonal,
The world they create.
right? The world they create, but also the political maneuvering and interactions that are so good, and some of the lines that they use in the show, especially about fate. In 2 of these episodes, there's really good lines about fate, and they're both delivered by women, by the way. So, and I'm not trying to say that it's like, oh, you go, girl, it's power. It's just that's how it was back then, in that kind of world. That's how they wielded power, was through
It's different weapons.
different interactions, right?
I like it.
Yeah, if you wanted espionage, you went to like women. Like that's who you told all your secrets to. And I don't know why men weren't the wiser, but I mean
Well, the thing is with this show, they really do. They take their time with all the scenes and to tell the story, and the characters have space, and so you get to see how powerful these women actually are, even though they're not presented as such. They're running everything behind the scenes.
Right. Because traditionally, that is who ran the household. So if you look at like, why was Lady Fuji assigned to Blackthorn when he was made a Hatamoto? Is to manage his house. It wasn't to be, like his. It was kind of like to be his like stand-in wife or something. But the function of that, her function is to run that household of servants, finances, keep it clean, keep it stocked, all of that, and defend the house. That's why also she does those things in the previous episodes with the pistols and stuff, where she points those pistols at that guy, because her purview is that house, and then Blackthorn's purview is everything out of the house, and that's how it always worked, to the point where they even controlled all the finances.
Right.
So, right.
Like now, in my
well,
house.
but even outside the house. I mean, the tea house is no exception. Like all throughout, like, and this is Chinese and Japanese history both, because I watch a lot of Chinese dramas too. But they've always had this, like the tea houses or the dance houses or pleasure houses or whatever you want to call them. Those are like the CIA. That's like you have like operatives in there, and that's what they did, was they would learn these secrets, and sometimes they would use them to help who was ever in power, who needed to be in power.
Right, exactly. So the show has got all of those elements, but it's also well written. The music's good. The
Oh,
production
music.
quality is
Oh,
good.
love it.
The costumes, oh my
Right.
gosh, the costumes, the embroidery work,
The
yes.
fabric.
Yes.
I love it.
The
Even
show
down
needs
to
to win
the
an award
fabric
for
of
its
the
production
flag.
design.
It should win an award for a whole bunch of stuff. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, and
It better.
the only if I had to critique anything, is they spent a lot of time on the Japanese stuff, and they just kind of threw the European stuff in there. Here's some guns.
Yeah, they don't really go hard on the like religious feud thing.
Right. Well,
They
because
don't-
there's
I
only
just-
so much they
yeah.
can focus on. But
Yeah.
You don't have to. I mean, honestly, if I had to cut something, that's probably what I would, because I don't think it's going to come into play yet.
They had a little bit of
let
it
it
kind of
slow
near the
burn.
beginning of the show.
it did, because it's an important aspect of what's going on between. It was the whole reason that Blackthorn washed up on the shores there. Was that conflict between the Protestants and the Catholics, and also the Dutch and the Portuguese, setting up like international trade.
I like that idea there. Funny. Big Trouble
I like
in Little
that
China
idea, too.
emotes. Yeah. Let's say hello to our chat. People are here. Your Barmy's here. Dempsey. I have some members. It looks like in the she always telling me I have 4 new members, so that's awesome. It's not showing up where they came from, but I appreciate that. I'll get to them in a second, but also I have a target for tonight. So before we start, I wanted to try to get if we get 5 memberships, or even just 5 member chats, because if you have your member chats, please use them. I like to see them being used, and if we hit 5, we already have 4, it looks like, then what I want to do is I have a special clip I made, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's somewhat original, and I think you guys will get a kick out of it. And never mind, Squeaka, you're on the panel.
Squeaka.
Am I not supposed to do that if I'm on the panel? Oh snap! I'm
not getting
sorry.
the
I
blame.
didn't mean to break for you
No.
rules.
You did not break
I
any
said
rules.
I'm tired. I'm
Thank
gonna
you
go
so
take
much,
my
Squeaka.
robe off and
If
No, you're
Oprah
good. You're good,
Oprah
Squeaka.
can do it on her show.
You-
Why can't you?
Yeah, true.
You
Squeaka,
sang
you rule.
earlier.
Thank
You're
you
good.
so much. Okay. Well, thanks to Squeaka, you guys. You get to see this special clip. But so hi to people first, and yeah, wow, Squeaka, that's very generous as usual. Thank you. Speaking of Squeaka, there you are. Got it. No spoilers. Jacob, how's it going, Jacob? Good to see you. Sammy, because you're on everything right now, dude. Everywhere. Streaming all over the place. And I thought it was funny last night. You were saying like, yeah, but like, my wife is now asking me like, are you gonna be doing this every night, kind of thing? And anyone who's been on here knows that we've all had that point. Like,
Yeah.
is this gonna be an all the time thing? It's true. Oh, look at this, Jenna. Creepy short tight. Thank you very much. Cajun Corey, what's up, dude? Sketch, you're here and there. We got what's this here? That's yes. Well, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Jay Goodwin, what's up? Jay, I think he's gonna come on Circle of Jerks this week, possibly.
Nice.
That'll be fun. First time there. We got Zach, some override. I like it. I'll take it. We got we got Melvin Deeply. What's up, dude? He's we were talking about some weird there's some weird YouTube stuff going on with the algorithm and how they reflect your numbers. So yeah, and I've noticed it too, and he brought it up, but like after a live show, like we'll have, we have 39 people here right now, it says, according to this. I'm not sure how many on YouTube or not. 24 on YouTube, some people are on Twitter, but after the end of the show, I'll have like 11 views, even though I had more than that at one time. And then you have to start catching up again later as it goes. I don't know what that's about, but
It also holds it for a couple days, like almost a week. and then you're building numbers at the same time. So it's like a constant catch up.
It's really strange. And it's frustrating a bit because you want to have that initial, like, oh, it did pretty well. People liked it. And then
Yeah,
now
because you're like,
you don't get that. Oh, what? I've got Bag Face. What's up, dude? Gooch. I love the Gooch. E. Clay Thomason. What's up? So I've got, looks like Squeaka became a sponsor already. Thank you very much. Okay. I can play the clip now. Almost there. Low Spec Linux laptop. See you. And then obviously the great and wonderful Squeaka Mouse. Jana says, member for 7 months, grip your sword tight. Always grip that thing tight.
Double hand mine. Just
And
like in Shogun.
That was a funny scene, right?
Yeah.
I did it again. Come to my tea house. Free laundry. We all know about your laundry.
only if your roommate does the like washing.
Yeah, that's one of the
Yeah.
best stories we've ever had on here. So, it's Josh. What's up, Josh? Gord King's here. All right, good crowd. All right, buckle up. It's not a long clip, but it's fun. This is part of this is from a very special film. It's 1990s Captain America. So, starring Ned Beatty and some guy I don't know. Here's a clip.
Hey, Captain. America, fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah, America, fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way.
What is
Yeah.
that?
So-
Oh my god.
So he just steals this dude's truck.
He tricks Ned Beatty into coming to see him because he pretends that he's puking. And so Ned Beatty comes to check on Captain America. And he uses that opportunity to steal his truck.
So he was the Captain Marvel before Captain Marvel.
Pretty much. And yeah, but he never hit Ned. So that was nice of him.
At least he smiled while he was doing it.
Was Ned hitting on him before he stole the truck?
I don't remember that part, actually.
Did Ned tell him to smile? It's not that bad, or whatever it was that happened that set her off.
Oh, you think of Deliverance? Oh,
I didn't hear any banjo music.
yes.
It's
It's fun. That's fun. So,
Why
yeah.
does the kid in that look like Joe Biden?
What?
There's like a kid and he has those weird squinty eyes or something. I don't know. I saw it in a
Oh.
meme. Now I cannot see it.
No. Well, I had to bring this up because we were talking about someone who's showing the original Fantastic Four, the Roger Corman one. I thought, well, that looks bad, but this was also pretty bad.
But is it
That's
like good bad? Oh, you know what, Melvin? I was thinking about that today a lot, and I was thinking of making a video like Rome versus Shogun, but I don't know like the world of Shogun. Like I know Rome, like I did Roman historic reenactment for a really long time. So I'm like, oh, they nailed this and this and this and that, and I don't know enough about Shogun to say if they did that or not. So
Yeah, good.
I
thought,
like
though.
both shots. I like both shows, excuse me, and I would like to talk to somebody about that if like maybe that's something. If you're an expert, let me know.
The only thing that I've seen that has any controversy at all about the show is it doesn't have any black people in it.
Yeah.
Which there were black people around back then in Japan, but they just weren't near Osaka or whatever. They were in the trading ports. And how you know this is there's actual paintings done by Japanese people that show black people there, but they're with the Portuguese. They're not like samurais or anything. And they're servants and at different levels. So some of them were S words and others might have a more technical aspect in the society with the Portuguese, but they were with them. They weren't just walking around Japan willy-nilly.
Right. Yeah, and I think if they did that, if they had a black character, it wouldn't bother me at all. Like it's, but
Right.
you can't have them sprinkled in like in the countryside because that was the thing.
Like
they
we're
had.
No,
randomly going to recast this Japanese guy as a
Yeah.
black
Right.
person.
You can't have that.
makes sense.
What you could have done, and it would have been perfectly acceptable, was to have him on the
Erasmus.
pardon this, but the black ship that the Portuguese were using to go to Macau. They would have been perfectly acceptable there. That you could have had him in a scene with the Monsignor guy as like a scribe, like writing down what they're saying or looking at some books in the background or something. It would have been fine. You could have even had them interact with the character and talk to them and just be like, hey, go get me this or something. But it wasn't like, they were all over the place. And so, but that's the only negative thing I've seen somebody complaining about the show. Not the writing, not the historical accuracy, not any of it. I mean, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but as far as being well done, I don't think there's anybody really complaining about it. I haven't looked at Reddit yet, so.
Hey, Gooch, have you watched both series?
Have I watched both series, Rome
Yeah.
and Shogun? I've only watched Shogun. I don't know. I there's so many period pieces out. Like they got into that big run a couple of years ago on Netflix and History Channel and all that. They were just like flooding the market with all these shows. So I was just kind of like, enough's enough. So
Rome was really cool because it was made in the early 2000s, and it was I'm surprised nobody talks about it. Like they'll talk about like The Sopranos and like what was the other ones like that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I think
and they're
we
like,
answered your
that's
own
the
question.
golden age of television, and they totally forget Rome. And I'm like, why isn't that talking? Because it's like the way the production design and the production and the writing and stuff that went into that was like at the same level as like Game of Thrones. And I see like a lot of parallels between the two shows, and nobody ever talks about it. And I think it was a really
I don't think it hit the zeitgeist. Like,
yeah, I don't think it did either. Like, I think
Yeah.
the market wasn't there, but it was so good, and the acting was great. The writing was fun. Like, there's a lot of cool stories. I mean, come on, Legionary Titus Pullo, like he's a
Yeah. Well, I loved Rome, so it's probably better. It's hard to say because it was made so long ago. It holds up today. I've watched some of it back after Ray Stevenson passed, and it's worth watching again. Deadwood too, same thing.
Yeah.
It got canceled and not forgotten, but Rome got canceled 2 seasons in, and it was too much money. They
Yeah,
said
it was too much money, and then their like set got burned down.
Spartacus, good one too.
Spartacus.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
You know, like I don't know. A lot of people
I
say
like
they
that
liked
show.
it as a show, but it was definitely not historical accurate.
Oh no,
And I got so
No.
tired of
Hell
like
no.
it just being
Mhm.
like softcore. Like everyone's just like we actually got props from that show for our reenactment group, and we bought them.
really?
We're just like, yeah, we used to just make jokes about. Oh, I bet somebody had sex on this thing.
Well,
yeah, but it was just not real.
I know, but still, what's the
the
thought?
price of Merkins went through the roof after that show was done.
Merkin.
It would be if
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
that
there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I will say Lucy Lawless was looking pretty good in that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard.
I was surprised that she went down that road too.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think she was going to bear it all like that. But
Sketch, have you seen Rome?
Oh, sorry. No. That one kind of passed me over at the time, but I think I was still too young to be allowed to watch something like that at the time.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Was Lady Balefire?
Yeah.
You had to sneak in to see that?
No, I was of age.
Just a wee lad, okay?
Hey, Whitey, what's up? And Squeaka, you probably haven't seen Rome, I'm going to bet.
I'll watch it after I watch The Sopranos for the first time.
Hmm.
The funny
I was
thing about
like
it-
87 when it came out, so I have no excuse.
Seriously. The funny thing about Rome is that it's such an early show. And like I was just watching it a while ago, and I'm like, dude, the like special effects like hold up. Like it looks
Yeah.
better than like Rings of Power, like Wheel of Prime. I was like,
Oh
what?
yeah, they couldn't keep that show going, but they can make all this other garbage.
Yep.
Yeah, for like 14 times the price.
So let's get this clip here before we'll get the party started. So thanks for that. I'll load this one up.
Beta male, not an alpha male. Beta male, yes. Beta male, you a beta male? Beta male, not an alpha male. Beta, what a shame. Mommy's boy.
I love that song.
It's amazing. All right, let's get into this episode now. try to go through some of it. It starts off, we get the flashback with Mariko, and I believe her name was Ruri. Is that right? It was the well, it was Kuroda was the warlord at the time, and it was his daughter.
Oh, Lady Ochiba.
Oh yeah, we're going.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
yeah.
Something.
And they were hanging out as kids. They were besties. No scissor action at all, I don't think. So that was a bit of a change.
That was refreshing.
Right. So her name, they would do this back then. When people attained a new title or a new rank, they would change their name.
Mhm.
And so she was Riki or something like that when she was a kid. But once she became the consort of the Taiko, the old guy that was laying on the bed in the second episode that died, and so she became, once she produced that heir, his heir, then she
Right.
became the Ochiba name. And the thing that's interesting about it is, it was, once it became a certain rank, it was impolite to use their previous name, so they had to call them different names. So the Ochiba name actually means falling leaves, and the other part of that is also a direction. So it basically covers, when they're talking about her, they're talking about where she lives. So she's the lady from the room of falling leaves to the west or something. And it just kind of, it's like a moniker basically, that everybody knows to call her that. But her birth name is the other one. Sorry, I can't remember what it is right now because they don't use it that much.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole really cool historical part of this. I'll let you play through it, but like how the real person, what happened to her, and all those kinds of things. So I don't want to go too deep in it because it's kind of complicated and it's probably boring.
We should spend like 90 minutes talking about a pheasant again. That was fun.
Oh my god!
I did look that up afterwards about
Me
like
too.
hanging pheasants and why you do it and how long you keep them there, and that went down a big rabbit hole. There was like a website for it and everything. So
apparently you do that, I guess, just not in the heat.
Right, it's got to be below 55 degrees, but you don't want it to be below 48. Otherwise, it does something to the meat. So it's got to be like 50 is perfect. And it can't be gut shot. And you don't want to gut it or anything. You just want to leave it totally intact and hang it up. And then it will be fine.
Oh, but like that. Oh, okay.
Well, the thing had so many flies on it, that was not correct. It shouldn't have had any flies on it at all. Because if you get flies on it, then the maggots are going to eat the meat and it's not going to be any good. It has to be cold enough so there are no flies.
So this is their introduction here, and they become besties. And we get to see Mariko and how her family is shamed because her father took out the warlord. His name is Kuroda in this, but I think it's Nobunaga.
It's Oda Nobunaga.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people in the Warring States period or Warring period to actually come really close to unifying everybody under one leader. But then he was assassinated by Mariko's father.
Right.
And the only reason she was spared is because she had just previously, the year before, married Buntaro. So when people do that back then, their allegiance changes to the new family. So they're no longer having allegiance to their old family, but their new one. So that spared her from being killed.
Right.
But she still wanted to kill herself because her whole family died. So she had that kind of, and that's why she's so cold to Buntaro, is that he won't let her do that.
Yeah, we get to see some of that too, where they're making him more of a character, and even though he's an asshole in a lot of ways, you understand more depth to him from this episode, especially, and that he wants, she's ice to him and always has been.
Right.
And
that's why.
And the marriage was set up by her father, Mariko's father, was to like kind of on purpose to get her further away from like the center of power. Was that right?
It is, so that she could then, through her husband and herself, actually carry on what his plan was and get revenge, or basically to live on and enact some of the things that he had. Because he knew that once he took that step against, I can't remember his name in the show, but it was Oda Nobunaga, basically.
Kuroda. They call him Kuroda.
Right. So he kills Kuroda. in a coup kind of thing, but he's quickly, within like a couple of days, he's overthrown and surrounded, and he gets killed. She's the only one that gets spared from it.
Doesn't he have to kill his entire family except for her?
That's what they're saying. Yeah,
Right,
yes,
okay.
he's ordered to kill his entire family. I don't know if that's exactly how it went down in real history. I just think he wound up killing himself with seppuku or whatever. And of course, his whole family will then follow because that's what they did.
Right.
All his retainers and all that. So they had to. So anyway, but that's why she survives, is because of her marriage to Buntaro.
Okay.
And so all those families are like interlinked through marriage and things.
Lady B, thoughts on this backstory?
I thought the backstory was really cool. I was just randomly thinking, like, they're calling the guy Kuroda, and there's actually a really amazing Japanese carrot called New Kuroda, and it's delicious. But no, I did like the backstory. It makes a lot of things. I know when I was thinking what I'd rate this episode, it wasn't on my higher things, but I was talking earlier about how much I have enjoyed the fact that the story structure is really, really good for like, and we're at that part, it's the midsection of Act 2, and it's going to be slower. And I think they did a good job of incorporating the backstory with the women and stuff and making it make sense. So I enjoyed this part of it.
So one thing to point out is that she says that her father killed that guy because he was a tyrant. But the way everyone else looked at the time, a lot of people look at it as, yeah, he did the right thing. But there are also another faction that thinks it was really like that was not good for him to do. So anybody involved in it was like, their name was mud, which is why in the previous episode, Buntaro made her tell Blackthorn like what her family came from and the shame and all that. And that's why he loves her, but he's also mad at her because that happened. And now because he's married to her, it kind of like reflects on him. So
I thought it was interesting in this scene that she's wearing white. And as you remember from when Fuji's like husband killed himself, that he was also wearing white. It's the color of mourning. So I thought that was definitely significant to say you're getting married and she's put on white. Look, that was a statement.
well, that the thing is though, is that is also their traditional wedding garb is
Really?
white. Yes. So it's not
just that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I like too in this how they show the dichotomy of the obedience-ness that is like they're married into a family, they're given to a family, but also we start seeing how they excuse me, how much power they do have. Like it shows you, it makes you almost feel sorry for them until and you're like, oh well, it's just a typical, women get married off, they have no say in the matter, and it even highlights how she didn't understand it and she didn't like it. But then you see exactly what kind of power they have as it progresses.
right. And right here on the screen, it says you've always been an obedient child.
Which it perfect timing.
Right.
I might be the only one, but I just feel like the backstory wasn't needed because, like, we all knew what her background was already. I just feel like it wasn't really necessary, and I think we could have gone a little deeper into what was actually happening at that moment. But that's just my thoughts on it. So.
I appreciate it just because now we've got a whole nother character who's kind of like an antagonist force in Ochiba who was recently introduced. And you get this flashback, and the lighting that they have her in these interior scenes with the council regions.
Yeah.
She looks really creepy. Like it's
She's
the
crazy eyes that they show her doing.
It's the eyes and the smile. And just the contrast between that and the flashback really sells on like.
I felt I feel like we could have definitely knew what like was going on with Mariko, but this is the Ochiba backstory.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is it shows Mariko doing like it says a little training montage in there. It also shows the inner relations between her and Lady Ochiba. They grew up together. They were friends. They like cry when they part, and now they're on opposite sides of the conflict, and their duty to their lords and their destinies has broken them apart and maybe unreconcilable. So that also is kind of like really feeds into the whole tragedy of the story, and how it's just, it happened in Europe a lot too. People would marry another family, then they go to war, and now they're on other sides, and they would exchange hostages. That goes all the way back to Roman times.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what was going on. Is Lady Ochiba was actually there with them, and then they don't show it in the show, but in real life, she got moved around as a hostage, and she got married off like twice before she became the consort of the Taiko, because she would get married into a family or taken under the wing of somebody, and they would get defeated. So then she would become the property of the next one. And then that guy would get defeated, and so that's how she moved up into being under the Taiko's protection. But keep in mind that they're royalty, basically, right? They're like dukes and stuff in European in terms. So they have a lot of different rules, and their world is different than it was to be like a peasant and stuff. So there's a lot of arranged marriages and things like that.
I liked how they set up in this one. They start the mystery. It's like, why does Oshiba like hate Toranaga?
Yeah.
And that's just a question, and that keeps going and going and going. And he won't say, she won't say, and then we eventually find out.
I like that they used her point of view at the beginning with the flashback to show the tensions rising between her father and Kuroda, and you sort of see it evolve. And you can, as they get older, they age them up a bit. You can see that it's getting closer and closer to come to blows, and you understand more of what happened, and that her father was like the trigger man, but he was not the one who put that in motion, and it's Toranaga probably who was.
Right. Yes, that's the implication, is that he. And that's why Lady Ochiba doesn't like him, is because she thinks he's behind the whole thing. He was like the mastermind of the plot, and that's the other thing, is that Lady Ochiba is God, what's it? I keep forgetting his name. The guy that's supposed to be Oda Nobunaga, the guy that Corona. Yeah, she's his daughter, so he gets killed. And then now she has to move and do all this stuff. And so that's the other reason why she doesn't like Mariko either, is that because of what her father did.
It's kind of like interesting because both Mariko and Ochiba are kind of fighting the same fight. Like, she's like, I just want to die so I can join the honor of my family. And Oshiba's like the same thing as like, well, she thinks he killed her family or whatever. So she has to avenge.
Well, the other thing, the reason that Ochiba is so powerful is that she is the mother of the new heir to the whole thing, that kid, and she was the only one that was able to produce an heir. So that really skyrocketed her from almost nothing to like basically
Queen Bee.
The Queen Bee, right?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting how they showed all the stuff she was doing, and it's like she was eating mushrooms, and the way they presented it was like some weird hallucinogenic rite and stuff like that.
Right. The stuff that she had to go through to conceive. And if you see that the person that was making her take all that stuff was the actual Taiko's wife that couldn't conceive. So the whole thing is, it's all about having and preserving that bloodline. And as you see in a lot of European instances or anywhere around the world, if you don't have an heir, it usually leads to, or there's a question of who's going to take over, like House of the Dragon. You wind up having civil war and things, which is what the previous 150 years before this time was. It was just constant civil war.
Mm-hmm. That is really interesting. And now that you mentioned House of the Dragon, I was talking about it in my comment. There is a great book about this called Game of Queens. And it's about women power brokers in medieval Europe. And it's so interesting. People are like, oh, women have no power and nothing. It's like, that is ridiculous. It's so fascinating to read that. And then you realize all of the religious infighting. And this is about probably 100 years before all of the stuff that we see in this show. So if you're looking for a good read, that's the recommended history there.
Right. Oh, also, if I might mention, I've been reading the chat here. You guys are all wrong. Yeah, exactly. Fuji is best girl. She is.
You have been a Fuji man from the start, so
yeah. Oh, yeah. She's
go step up, Fuji.
No, Mariko. all
Yeah,
right.
it's gotta be.
No.
It's still gotta be. Team
That's fine.
Mariko.
That's fine. If
Yeah.
I was Blackthorn and I would have went to the Will World or whatever, I'd have been like, give me a couple things to drink. I'm out of here. Going back to Fuji. See you later. I'd have been like, thanks for the gift. I'm out.
So this is where we get into he's Tornaga is telling Montero that he can't see his wife for 7 days, and then he's like, "Hey, your wife should take this guy to the brothel with her." Like, just like the worst.
It's so funny. I love how he just tells them like enough of this nonsense.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love when he says that.
He doesn't want to deal with it, and he shouldn't have to deal with it either. But I mean, I guess he does. It's kind of his job. And what's up, Flash Dog? He's a big fan of the new Roadhouse, so that's good. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, which isn't low
I
praise.
feel like Jana would have a lot to say about Roadhouse because if I remember correctly, she liked the original a lot.
She did, yeah. Which, like, unironically, I
Oh,
think
my-
she liked it too.
You're talking the new Roadhouse, like
Yeah.
that was like a simple like Forrest Gump. Like he was like that knew how to fight. It was just like so bad. Like
Yeah, but it's good bad. Don't mess with the classics.
The
yeah,
old one or the
exactly.
new one?
Don't. Yeah, the new one. Like it was like he looked like Forrest
Oh.
Gump that knew how to fight.
I just like Conor McGregor walking around with that gorilla strut the entire time. The whole time. How do you hold your arms like that all the time?
He looked like Forrest Gump. Didn't he?
It's just, what
Yeah,
the
he
hell?
sat there and
Yeah, over
smiled
there.
like getting punched in the head. It was just like I'm like, okay.
I took a to bouncing like a duck takes the water.
Thought it was gonna be worse, but it wasn't as bad. Yeah, so go take your guy you're banging to a brothel.
Oh yeah, this was when I saw this. I was like, literally like,
You know what I like about this show? I think a lot of other shows would have leaned into this interpersonal drama BS. But this show doesn't. It's like, okay, we just get some pining looks. You know, every time I see the like rating and I'm like, ooh, like language, sex, violence, and
Yeah.
I'm like, think it's gonna be something crazy, and then it's like, I didn't see tits. Like,
No.
I should be mad, but I love it actually. It's cool.
the only one that's like really getting any action is the village leader's nephew.
That nephew, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that he's just banging that chick, and that chick's like some high class. I'm like, she's like basic OnlyFans chick.
I like they got into like the
I mean, she's screwing him. Like,
True.
is she really like the best they can offer up? Like, come on. He's like, ugh.
well, you got to remember that their province isn't backwater, but it's
Yeah.
not like the premier richest province,
Yeah.
and they're in a fishing village.
Yeah,
So-
fish
I know,
village.
right? It's a fishing village, and they're acting like this chick is all. I don't know.
It's the equivalent to like the small town from the 40s. Okay, there's like
Right.
there's like double digits worth of people there.
You don't have to tell me I live in Iowa, so.
Yeah.
I
so
feel
what do you
that.
think, Sketch? What do you think he's up to here, Tornaga, with this? Why is he sending her with Blackthorn to a brothel? Like, what's his game?
With Blackthorn specifically.
Yeah.
So this is right after we had the fallout from Montero coming back to the house.
Yeah.
And having the conflict.
Yeah. And
I'll be honest, even I'm not even sure exactly
Here-
what he's
so
up
here's-
to with Blackthorn.
I
So
have a
here's what
theory.
happened.
It is more of a move
Oh.
for Marco because, and we'll get it comes back into play in 7.
because his way of solving this issue was to say, okay, well, you can't see your wife for a week, and you two go over here to a brothel. So that was his. So what do you think that was, Gooch?
Well, I think he was like he wants to release some of that testosterone, so he can, he wants to get his men back. He wants to get like everything back. He's like in a hurry to like Blackthorn. You talking about?
I'm talking about
Like
Tornaga. Why would he set it up like that? Why would he send her with him
because
to
I
a
think he
brothel?
wants. I think he wants Blackthorn to get, like to
To get
release
his
a lot
head
of
in the
that.
game. Like, he's all
Yeah,
like, you
like
just want
really-
some post, you're like, hold up with like Fuji
Yeah.
and like Mariko and the like best girls. So I was like, okay, just get laid, and then you can think, not even thinking about what's actually going on there.
Yeah,
I think
that's
there's more to
exactly.
it though. There's more
What-
to it though. It's not just get your head back in the game. He also wants her to go with him because I mean, think about it. He's not from around there. He doesn't have the same sense of moral code, and he thinks less of Anjin. And so he's like, go watch this guy flirt with this other girl and see how he's just a savage, and maybe you'll respect your husband more. I think he had other ulterior motives to try to get her not jealous per se, but just to see how he's really just
Good
a bad
point.
guy.
Well, not only that, so Blackthorn comes and says, "Hey, I want to peace out. Like, I'm done here. There's
Yes.
nothing for me here. I want to bounce."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Well, wait a second. I made you a hatamoto. I gave you a 200 koku like stipend, and then after you saved me, I gave you your own, basically your own little fief with a 600 koku rice, stipend, which is it's not nothing. That's quite a bit, And I gave you command of like my cannons and all this stuff, and you still want to leave." So he's like, "Huh. Well, I'll give you this other honor then of setting you up with a courtesan that not anybody's going to get to go hang out with." And he needs Mariko to go because he's playing 4D chess. He needs her to spy and see what's going on with him. But he also needs her to translate. Otherwise, he's not going to know what the hell's going on. And he can't fully experience the experience. Because if he's just going there to bang, anybody can do that. But it's not that. If you later on in the episode, we'll see that there's the way she pours her tea, there's conversation, there's other things and it's really a powerful scene when all that happens, when it all comes together. So that's the other reason that he needs her to go, is so she can translate for him. Because otherwise he's not going to be able to enjoy the experience. And it's an expensive one. Like that mon that they're talking about, like the 200-300 mon, that's not cheap.
Yeah,
So-
like that was the other thing I thought. Oh, it's a status symbol. Like he could just send this guy. It's like he's not just sending like him to the brothel. It's like he's sending a message to other people that he would send this disgusting barbarian to the brothel in a way. I think he's playing another game too. Like there's so many levels.
And he also might have had an inkling that maybe something was going on between them, because he's always like, "What's going on between you two?" Like, because they're bickering. And he can be like, "Yeah, there's something here, like something's happening."
That's what I think too. That's
Right.
what I think.
And he's like, "So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Buntaro to go F off for 7 days. And then I'm going to send her with him and see if this blows up, Also, maybe just like to get her mind straight or whatever." I would have, like I said before, I would have been like, "I'm heading back. I'm going back to the house because Fuji's there."
I do think that there's something there, because it's got to be like, I think he wants to keep Blackthorn there, anchored there, and not leave. And everything he's tried has not worked. But maybe if he anchors him to her, it'll work. And he doesn't really care like whether it's right or wrong, because it's what he needs.
Right.
So
Yeah, he, as a lord, all of his people are basically chess pieces to be used.
Right.
He might have affection for some of them, but when push comes to shove, he's going to use them in the way that he needs them to be used. Also, so in Japanese culture, they really don't like to say no about stuff. Like, let's say you want to take a plane from one city to another in Japan, but they don't have one that day. Instead of saying, "We don't have one, no, you can't," they'll say, "Well, wouldn't you rather take a train? Or perhaps you'd like to take this bus." And you're like, "No, I don't want to take a bus. I want to take the damn airplane." And then eventually, if you go back and forth with it, they'll eventually say, "No, we don't have one." But they don't like saying no, even in that instance. So he doesn't really want to have to tell Blackthorn, "No, you can't leave," like sternly, and basically have to put him in manacles or something, and he doesn't want to blow that relationship up. So that's the other thing, is he keeps trying to do these things to placate him, like, "Hey, I'm going to give you this really great gift that other people," because if you notice, the only other people that are really in the follow-on episode is getting to go is his half brother. So it's a high honor for that to happen.
And I like how he plays it off with him, because he's like, he does want to keep him happy in there, but at the end of the day, he's like, "Just, you guys stop being kids. Like, I have stuff to do." So
Right. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. What's up, Cannoli? Good to see you.
And then you see the immense amount of pressure that he's under in the next episode. Like, he's got like real important things going on. I can't be worried about it.
Do you think he's like thinking of the pressure that's happening? I'll wait till we get to it. I don't want to speak too much about it right now.
So this is just right now. This is Osaka is now on lockdown. They're keeping all the regents locked up until they can do the vote for the impeachment, and so that's what they're talking about that here. So comes back to Lady Ochiba. Is that right?
Yep.
Right. So this guy is actually his vassal, and they want to escape, but I think it's his daughter-in-law or somebody is pregnant, so he can't leave. So he's got to leave his wife and her behind, and ride to tell him that, hey, this whole place is on lockdown. They're going to put another. They're going to basically force those other guys to vote to put another person on the council, and then they'll be able to vote for your death. And so, but Lady Ochiba caused this.
Yeah,
she made this happen in the last episode. She told the guy that's in charge, hey, now's the time for action, and then you'll be remembered. So she plays on his ego and things like that. And that's how the women wielded power back then, was to do those kinds of things. It was always behind the scenes mostly, and just basically pushing their men to do these things and playing off of their honor, and they don't want to look weak and stuff like that. You can kind of have that nowadays. You go in a bar and are you gonna let him say that to me?
True.
Yeah. Get in there and
right.
fight him.
You gonna let him talk about you like that?
Yep, exactly. Or are you gonna let him talk to me like that, or whatever?
What do you think about? How do you feel about how they're portraying the women in this story?
How do I feel about how they're portraying the women? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of already touched on the fact that I like how they show the different aspects of what it meant to them. Like they are pieces, and they are trading posts and things to, for marriages and things like that. But like here, his first instinct is to save her, and like he tries to get her on the horse first, and then Ochiba is like telling them what to do and running things, and then we have the tea house, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I feel like this whole episode has built up around the fact that shows just how it's not what we think it is. It's not just your usual, oh, they're just married off, or oh, they're just pieces to be used. They do have power. They do make things happen. And like Shieldwall said, they do tell them, hey, by the way, go to war for me. Your honor needs it, and the women themselves, you see their quiet presence, and you see them, they say things with weight. Their language and the way they speak isn't necessarily like just vacuous. It's just, it has a point, and it's very succinct and just down to the point, but it also is open-ended to kind of nudge the guys in the right direction, so to speak.
And she carries herself with so much confidence too. Lady Ochiba does it. Like, I'm not sure where her power comes from exactly, but like it's clear that she has it, and she knows she has it, and everyone else respects her enough in the way their mannerisms are when they interact with her. So just it's that, but it's not like, even if we didn't know who her dad was previously and who she gave an heir, she still acts like she has that power.
Well, like the line she says, and I love this one, it's one of my favorites, where she says, I made fate look my way so I could claw its eyes out.
Right. Yeah, that was such a great
it's just
great
like,
line.
It reminds me of, like, I had this my criticism of House of the Dragon was like, okay, if you're women living in a patriarchy world, are you going to sit around complaining about the patriarchy and then have the men do it too, or are you going to exist in the patriarchal world and actually find your role in it and then work from within the system? And I think this show really does that well. It's showing about, these women are doing what their fathers say, but they're also playing the game. And I love Ochiba because I think her power comes from the fact that she is the mother of the heir, so she could just become like the regent if she wanted to. And I also think that they deferred to her because remember how in the beginning, the first few episodes, everyone was so intent on the bureaucratic and the bureaucracy
Yep.
Function of the government, and they're like, well, we have to have 5 regents, we can't do this, that, and the other. And like she has power because she is the mother of the heir, and everyone is still, they're all playing this game like we're all loyal to the heir, and we're going to try to, like, you know, pretend like we're all protecting him. And I think that's where her power comes from, because as long as they can keep that facade going, like she'll have a lot of sway.
Exactly. If they break that decorum, that makes them vulnerable to everyone else attacking them, because it'll give them an excuse to do so, and they will do it in a drop of a hat because they're all vying for power. So if one of them goes against that directive of what the Taiko said, how it wants to go, they have to all kind of do it behind the scenes or within the rule of law, right? They have to do due process to make it happen. Otherwise, they could just turn and attack the guy. But then if anybody breaks that, it makes them vulnerable to attack from all their members, because they can just eliminate them. And so that's why
they can say, well, that's treason.
Right. Exactly.
Well, it's not just that they have the power. They do. It's like a little dance. It's a very, very intricate dance. They pay attention. They watch. They're nobody to these people, but they're somebody when they want to be. And so it's this little dance of gathering information and knowing when to play your cards and know when to do things. But they don't like rage against the machine petulantly. They don't, oh well, I'm gonna get a sword and I'm gonna learn. You know, like you see like in things like Mulan, where she's like, okay, I'm gonna just go fight this battle. They don't do it that way. They're behind the scenes, and then when it's time and when she's ready, she's like, okay, I'm in charge now, and here's how I'm gonna do it. But even then, it's so subtle.
Right. And during this whole play, you get to see her flashbacks to everything that happened from her perspective, which I thought was really good, because so you understand more of who the character is.
There's a play here. This is the so is this? I can't remember. This is the play showing Mariko's dad. Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Mariko's dad. And then also it shows what happened to Lady Ochiba afterwards.
Right. Smart way to do it, to show that.
Yeah, it's like the play in Hamlet. The play's the thing. The play which to capture the conscience of the king.
And you can tell who the villain is by their mask.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put a
false vassal, which is sort of like this parallel to what's going on now.
I'm gonna put a question in the chat here, because this is sort of like I don't want to get sidetracked from this episode, but I was thinking about because I love this show and I want to watch it, like as soon as it drops, I'll watch it at night. And like toying around the idea of trying to do an after show. But I don't know if that's a good idea or not, if it's too late for people. So I'm just going to ask if people in the chat would watch an after show.
How late is late?
But I love the play too, because it's just one more piece of incorporating the culture and the costumes, and we get to see more of the history of what happened. I mean, they didn't have to do a play; they could just had people talking. You know what I mean? But here we get to embrace some of the culture, and I thought it was beautiful.
So here's the thing about this play. So there's No, which is more of like a higher, like samurai and leaders and stuff really enjoyed it. And then there's Kabuki, which is more for the people, like the commoners and stuff. But Kabuki has changed quite a bit since it first got introduced to now, but No hasn't. So what you're seeing here is basically almost unchanged from when they actually did the real play in the 1600s, because this is a real play.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's the way that it's acted is, it's not unchanged, but it's very little changed since that time.
How do you know all this stuff? Shieldwall.
I don't know. I just like it, so I looked into it. Like, read a lot of articles. I listened to the podcast after the show. They have a podcast that goes into some of the stuff.
Oh wow,
sometimes
that's
it's good.
cool.
But I did a lot of studying for it when I lived in Japan, and when I was active duty, I'd go to like remote locations, but they had a library, so I just
Oh,
go
I
there.
thought you were gonna say tea house. Oh, damn.
I was waiting for Tea House too. I was on it. I'm like,
I would have, in my youth, I would have burned that place to the ground. It would, yeah. They would have been like, yeah, that's a real barbarian.
Hey,
Oh,
they
this
love
is-
it.
This is gross. This scene.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's so into it.
Oh, well, yeah, but this is her having to conceive, so this is the sacrifice
Yep.
she had to make. You know.
Mhm.
Are we thinking that that's the real dad though?
I
Oh,
was thinking
that's a
that.
very good point.
Yeah.
A very good point, because I was like, huh, what are the chances?
I
you
was
know.
thinking of it. I was like
Yeah.
Ned Starking. I was like black hair, black hair, black hair. What?
What are the
Well-
odds Toranaga has?
Well,
had
and that's the thing about
history?
being from a homogeneous society like that. It's
You
hard to
wouldn't
tell.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
And-
that's racist.
And like we understand how it works now. And if the dude is only putting out daughters, it may be because he can only put out daughters. And so get this other guy, give him a go, and look, it's a baby. Like
I got the feeling like he didn't have kids at all.
I don't know if he did or not.
Yeah, I
So
think that was he had like no heirs, I don't believe.
okay.
He's like really old, so who knows?
I prefer one. Yeah. There's a post show podcast. You said
I feel like I need to watch this.
I need to find that too. now.
Me
Yeah, I
too.
gotta go back now and find them.
Yeah, they go into like the whole Ochiba and what her name means and all this kind of stuff. Plus, I watched a lot of videos of people that, they have these videos out there. What does this ending mean? Most of those are garbage because you just watch the show and it tells you the same thing. But
Right.
some of them are really good. There's some historical channels like the Metatron or whatever.
Yeah.
He'll have a lot of breakdowns on it.
I feel like what it would happen to me is what happened when I was reading like Roman stuff is I'd like read history, I would read fiction, and I would just go like totally autistic.
Mhm.
I was like that as a kid. It's like I started reading some I read Colleen McCullough like Roman fiction books, and I really just started. I read history books, and I just went deep on it. And
It also helped actually living in Japan for a while.
oh, definitely.
yeah.
I'd love to see what Japanese people have to think about this. I wish we could talk to Gray about it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
He'd be really good to bring on here too, I think.
Yeah.
Him or Jinja Ninja.
Ginger, yeah, both of them.
Yeah. This is where at what point do we start feeling bad for Ishido? Because he kind of screwed everything he tries to do doesn't work.
I don't care for this guy.
The other thing is he's not very, he weaseled his way into the council, but he's not from like a very highborn family. And that's one of the things. Okay. So you had the samurai class, right? But because of the turmoil of the warring period, you could be a peasant and you could rise to the rank of the ruler. That's what happened to the Taiko. He came from a peasant family.
Mhm.
He was like drafted into an army, and he wound up like killing this guy and taking his head, and who was a samurai. So he got promoted because of that. Once he got promoted, he got enough troops, and then he stayed back. He worked for Oda Nobunaga, and there was a fight they had, and somebody had to stay back and hold the guys off so that Oda could escape, and he did that. He managed to live through that, but because he did that for him, he got promoted again. And from there, he just kept winning and winning and winning and get promoted to where and then Oda is killed, and he manages to take over from that. And he unifies all of Japan, well, at least most of it. And then he invades Korea, and that's a complete shit show.
Yeah.
And then after that, he dies. So that's where this all goes. But they didn't call him Shogun. They called him Taiko because he didn't have the appropriate samurai rank to earn the title. So they had to make one up for him, which is Taiko
really?
is totally made up, right?
Yeah, that's what they
Hmm.
said. Was it
Yeah.
this episode or an earlier
Yeah.
one? It was
Yeah, I think it was a little bit earlier. But so then he enacts all these rules to prevent other people from doing what he did, which is to be able to advance. So this Ishida guy, he was able to kind of claw his way up there at the same time that Taiko did, because he brought a bunch of people with him that were, if they were useful to him or whatever. But then he set into place these rules that prevented other people from copying what he did.
Right.
And then as time goes on, the whole country's unified, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, he winds up becoming the supreme shogun of everybody, and he then starts putting all these rules into place that really stratified stuff. But prior to that, you could get like battlefield promotions pretty easily. You just had to take somebody's head, which is why you also see in these episodes they're like pushing, heads are showing up in boxes and stuff.
It's
Yeah.
always a head in the box in this show.
Right. Yep. Well, that's how you prove that you killed somebody.
I know. I love how they always make it look so nice too. It's like you
Yeah.
see somebody come in and it's like this box and it's wrapped with white and it's like perfectly tied. Just like,
And the samurai
What's in the
took
box?
great pride in that. So before they went into battle, they would perfume their heads and put makeup on and do all
Right.
kinds of stuff. So that if
Yeah.
somebody took their head, they wouldn't be embarrassed when their head was displayed. They didn't like bring shame on their clan and their family. And also the people that took the head, they wanted to kind of clean it up real good too, to make it look nice. Plus you also wanted to, if it was somebody famous, you wanted to be able to know who they were.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess priorities, the Spartans used to groom themselves before battle too, and they did other stuff to each other before battle as well. But
Right.
yeah.
This was a great scene, and Lady Fuji's only in it. This is like her only time in the whole thing, but the face that she makes is just,
Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah, when she finds out, because this lady thinks it's going to be for Toranaga. Oh, I'm so honored that he's going to come visit. And they're like, no. This is for the barbarian dude. And she's like, spits her tea out. She's like, say what? Yeah.
she's like,
That's
not
good.
in my house.
Like, you what?
I mean, they got to be somewhat curious, though, right?
Oh,
they do.
yeah.
Everyone wants some of that like white guy strain. Come on.
Yeah. It's only one going around, so yeah. But no. So this is the difference between a brothel and a tea house. Is that what this is?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, so this is very upscale. There's like, it's that the people in it are specially trained years in pouring drinks, dancing, conversation, poetry, music, all those kinds of things. This isn't just like, some random brothel. Nobody else, you just can't be some guy off the street and be like, yo, hook me up. It's none
Is
of
this
that.
like a pre-geisha era?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This, okay, so
Or proto-geisha?
I got a question.
proto-geisha, yeah.
I got a question. So like in Blue Eye Samurai, they have that in Edo. And the head mistress talks about having that district all encompassed in one city. So like
Right.
those two link together.
They do.
Yeah, next
Okay,
episode.
so well, no, I know that. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you
that's
do.
what I mean. Yeah, the next episode. But like, is that actually how it comes about? Was like her like mentioning to Toranaga?
Oh, in real life, I'm not sure. I know that they did. So after the Civil War period, right, things became more peaceful, and they were able to stratify so much more of like the economy, because the place wasn't all in chaos. So they were able to slowly. It wasn't like in a year or anything. It took like 10 or 20 years for all that to kind of coalesce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the head mistress, she has a tea house and she has like the specialties and Blue Eye Samurai, and it kind of in these two episodes they have the same thing. So I'm just wondering if that's like, because they kind of stick to like historical facts and everything. So I was just kind of curious, like did that actually come about, her saying like, I just want you to, when this is all said and done, to Toranaga at the end of the second episode, before we go to war, because she thinks he's gonna win. And she even talks about how he let his guard down in certain spots. I can't remember. I think it was like one of the flanks or whatever. And then she's like, just could you like build a city encompassing a wall and have it like this districts, 4 tea houses and everything. That's why I was kind of curious, like, when we were talking about this, is that actually true? So
I don't know if that. I'd have to research that, if it historically where she went and said that to him. But what happened after the the Civil War period. I'm not Dempsey. I'm not calling it the Warring States era because that's also what's called in China. So I don't want to confuse the two. There's a name for it, but I'm really bad.
Was it a provinces?
Okay, so each right, each province had its own daimyo, and they were fighting each other.
Mhm.
They were basically petty kings. The only thing they didn't do was print their own money. But they had total control over their own area. They didn't care what the emperor said. They were like, whatever, dude. And so the only way to get them to under control was you either had to bargain with them or defeat them. So the whole country was shattered because these areas, think of it, and some of these areas are still provinces today, that the borders have not changed from back then, from even the 1100s. So, but what happened was so there was a shogun in the 1100s, and then, but up until about the beginning of the 15th century, 14th century, they were very weak, and everybody rebelled against them, and then so the whole country fractured, and then they just started fighting each other for supremacy, and that's where you get this 150 years or so of civil war.
Prefectures. There you go.
Yeah,
That's the term.
yeah, prefecture. Yeah, right.
Feudal era and such.
Yep, exactly. And it is exactly the feudal system. You had a lord that had underlings that he then gave, land to, then they farmed the land, and they gave to their people all the way down to the peasant level and all the way back up. So it just like Europe, it was the same kind of system.
I like how they're showing us all those. They really do show you the ceremonies with the pouring of the tea and how everything is done so specifically and precisely. And it's I don't know, you kind of get mesmerized by it a little bit. I think I've always thought of it as being strange until I see it in this setting, and then it does kind of make sense. Like it would be, you're learning years how to pour tea, I guess. Okay, like
Right. So it was what made it so. It's what made it so expensive is that these people spent their lives training at it, and they weren't just. Plus, there's also other things that they were well versed in, if you know what I mean.
right.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah.
And those beds look comfortable anyway. So
Oh yeah, White Bear's got it. The Sengoku Jidai. That's what it's called. The Warring period.
oh
Yeah.
okay. Tokugawa from New Scroll, yeah. Tokugawa Ieyasu, I think is what his name
Yeah,
is.
Ieyasu. Yeah, he's the one that winds up becoming the overall ruler.
Spoiler alert!
Well, there's a big historical battle called Sekigahara, which is where that all happens.
Yeah, it's not a spoiler. I'm just saying.
This
We all
scene
know
right
that,
here.
like Blackburn has like the main character hair in the show.
So in the 80s version, right, he is much more prominent. Like everything is seen through his eyes. Here, every episode, he's more and more relegated to just like this side character that doesn't do anything. He has no agency or anything. He's just kind of there. This is my opinion. I don't know if that's necessarily a good or a bad thing, but it just
I was thinking about that because I was thinking as like, okay, are we looking as a narrative device? If everything we see is through his eyes, it's pretty limiting because like one, I'm assuming like in the book there's a lot of like interior monologue, and that's kind of hard to translate to the screen. And two, it's very restrictive in terms of the story you could tell with like the interests of different characters. Like how would you include like the different people and like the backstory and stuff? So I was thinking about that to like more than one time this week.
the 80s version was much more focused on the love story.
Yeah.
Now, can you go back just a little bit? Because
Yeah.
this is the best part of the entire episode when they're in there talking. Okay, to where so she's translating what Lady Ishii, I think that's her name, is saying, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, compliment her on her pouring of the tea," and then she gets up and starts walking around, and she's like, she would like to explain to you about the Willow World, but she positions herself so when he's looking at her, he's actually
talking
looking
to
to
Mariko.
Mariko.
Yeah.
So that Mariko is basically now saying, she's translating, and then at one point she says "I," which now
Yeah.
means that she's talking to her about the Willow World and how you have all this pain in your life, but the Willow World can let you forget about it, and you can do things here, and it's totally, outside of the regular world because you're in the Whittle world, so you can, do all these things. But see,
The
this also
staging of
explains.
this scene was so good, like the way that they shot it and how it turns. Kind of like when they did the translation scene with Blackburn, and he's like, it just goes from like Mariko translating to just him and the guy talking, and then it goes from her like talking, Mariko's translating, and then it's just between the shots alternate between Mariko and Blackthorn, and it just becomes a conversation between them both, which is something the like courtesan lady like realizes, which makes it really good. And she's fast enough too to realize that he wants to be with her too.
It's not that she did that on purpose. That's how good she is.
That's what I'm saying. It's like she knew what
what was going. She already knew what was going on between them. Like she could just tell, and she positioned herself like that on purpose in order for that to happen, because she knew that's what he wanted. That's the essence of what you're paying for with a woman like that. Is like that she could read everything. Just like if you remember in the very first episode, I think it was, or the second episode, Yorinabe, he's the guy that owns the town. The first time you ever see the courtesan's character, she's supposed to be coming for him, but she doesn't wind up doing anything with him. She just basically bangs his underling in front of him because she knew that's what he really wanted, because he wanted to watch. So
yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So she's really good at her job. And then, so you can see that. And then she even says, "Hey, Mariko, you want to come in here with us? Because you might need to translate." And she's like, "No, I can't do it.
I can't."
And that was all after a whole sequence where the camera just keeps pushing closer and closer in on her face as she's saying it.
Yeah. And then they do that thing where they walk past each other and he touches her hand. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how much intimacy they can get between them and they're not doing anything? And just the looks on the actors are so good at this. It was like really refreshing.
And you don't see that these days,
It's like, whoa, communications without having to say everything like we're 5.
I mean, is that what you got out of it, Gooch? Or you were just like,
no, I got the same thing. It was like, it's so well done. Like this is an incredible scene. I love this scene.
Here's a question: do you think that he banged her in there?
I don't think so. I think he just basically was trying to communicate with her and just had a good night's sleep. That's my gut feeling.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Because of what, like in the next episode, like how things go down or whatever. It's just a feeling I have.
I like how he's so uncomfortable most of the time. He's got the shifty eyes too, like he doesn't know what to look at or who he's supposed to be talking to, and it's a good job with that, I think. And then now he chugs this. I like that. There you go.
Well, yeah, he's like, okay, that's good, because he doesn't want to, because that'd be like, imagine you're trying to do this and like your girlfriend or wife is right there or something.
Right.
I think it's also like, I mean, one of my favorite movies in high school, this is kind of a weird kid I am, was Dangerous Beauty. And it's about the courtesans in Venice, which were like these women here. And like, it would have been a class thing for him. So he is like he's a sailor. I mean, come on. He's like used to like dockside whores and stuff. I mean, he's not nobility or anything. He's never been around like the sort of like courtesans. So not only is it the courtesan culture shock, it's just like the different culture too. And he's like, I don't know what to make of this.
Sketch, any thoughts on this scene?
There is one thing, actually. It has to do with the translation early on. He refers to Horsens as prostitutes, but then Mariko changes what he says when she's translating it early on.
Oh,
anyone else kind of catch that? That there's a few times where Mariko kind of just steps in and alters the words he uses.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. Like I love when that happens.
It's come up quite a few times now these last couple episodes, and it played off a lot here too.
That's so she can be a buffer. I mean, what did you think, Squeaka? Did you get that out of it, or do you think they did it? Wait, is she there? Oh, she said, "Be right back." Yeah, okay.
She'll be back.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's a lot of it. It's like, no.
I'm always surprised when she translates, and they do a great job because she's almost always honest about what he's saying. And then, so the times that she's not exactly honest, you pick up on it because normally she would be. She phrases it differently, but she gets his point across generally. And then that, yeah, you're right. If she switches it completely, you would notice now.
I think she also like it switches with her character too, where like now that it's gone on for a while and she likes him a lot more, she's also trying to make him look better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think she's starting to understand him better, and also she can use that buffer to be a buffer so that like the whole situation isn't blowing up, you know, because all it takes is for him to say the wrong word to the wrong person, or as we've seen him act, the wrong person say the wrong thing to him and he'll flip out. So
Well, and you see him like as these episodes go on, he still tends to lose it a little bit. He's getting better and he's getting smart about how he presents himself, but he's still, you know, he still is a barbarian in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
right. And also like the passage of time isn't really clear.
No.
Like how many has it been, weeks, days, months, whatever, but he is starting to learn like the language and the customs and things. They're just not in the 1981. You like painfully went through like 30 minutes of him doing it.
Yeah.
Like you basically learn Japanese right along with him, where in this it's just you know, you assume that he learned all this stuff.
We got one scene of it very early on,
Right.
Yeah.
and that was it.
So every once in a while he'll pull some like really lengthy Japanese out his butt, and you'll be like, okay, apparently he's been learning. So
I was wondering about this. Play it here, but the other lady who comes in, but what's the look with her and Mariko? Is there something to that? Because she walks in, she's staring at Mariko
she's
right there.
she's an apprentice, right? And
like,
but
why
come
is
on,
she
you know what she's thinking. She's like, you're banging this dude, aren't you?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or-
I think, like,
or-
everyone knows.
Or she's thinking, what would it be like to be with this guy? You know what I mean? Something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, or it could have been getting this kind of apprenticeship back in the day was hard to do, especially when it was first starting, and to learn these skills. So it could be that she also may be thinking she better not be here to take my spot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh.
That or she might be worried that Kiko will be like, hey, you handle this dude.
Or like,
I
why
was
is there
getting-
this woman here?
I was getting the thought that she knows who Mariko is and the name that's tarnished because
Mm.
of
That could
what
be
happened in
also
the
it.
past.
Yeah, that's a really good observation.
Yeah, true. Because she's staring her down. She doesn't look at him at all, I don't think. And she's just staring at Mariko.
But that's what's so great about the show. So much that's unsaid with just looks.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
You know?
yeah.
Very Japanese.
Maybe she has a washer that needs to be repaired later.
Oh yeah.
And she's probably short, so. And how am I to find this pleasurable place? Okay. Yeah, it's.
And then she says, by not making a scene for both, or like, so she's already like, she knows this guy, like he makes scenes all the time.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I think that one thing I love about the show is so much has happened in an episode, and you don't even realize there's no fighting going on. Like you expect this to be like samurai versus samurai. There's going to be all these battles, and there's lots of fighting, but not the overt combat. All this stuff in the background, and all the Machiavellian levers being pulled. You still feel like you watch something that was exciting, even though there's no boobs in it, and no one's dying right now.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's some.
Yeah,
There's
there
not
was that
enough.
one chick. What was it, like the second episode or something?
No, in like 6 or something.
Yeah,
there's
but it's
there's another
always
one.
right. But it's always this Kiku chick that's naked.
Kiku. Ugh.
Yeah.
Kiku. Messy
Because
bones.
she's always getting, she's always getting boned down by what's his name, the guy that she actually really likes.
Beta
He
male.
likes her. Yeah.
The guy needs a beta medicine.
Tomi, is that him? I think his name's Tomi.
Yeah, he's he's Nobunori's nephew, and he basically was in charge of the village before all these people showed up.
Right. Oh, hello, Forging Valorants. Thanks for coming. I think that's a new name. All right. So, I think I would skip the ceremony and just go right for the. Well, Never mind. Main event. I'll go right for the main course on this for sure. But okay, he's playing along. Most come to escape. Everything takes like it's just so.
Everything is so subtle.
Mhm.
But look at her right there. She's like,
Dying inside.
yep.
And so is he. He's conflicted too. But I don't think he doesn't want to be here. There it is. He could be at home pillowing Fuji right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get some of that Fuji apple action.
Yeah.
I love how he comes down too. He's just like so. Everyone's talking about it too because they're like, "What the heck?" This guy went to the like really like the tea house,
Yeah.
and everyone's just looking at him. I think it's like, I think it was a flex for Toranaga too. Like he's just like, "This is my dude." Like he has to cement this guy's place too.
Right. Oh, what's up, Caleb?
There's like the man,
Your
the
name?
myth, the legend.
Yeah.
Toranaga's forging the legend, and he kind of talks about the legend like next episode. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. The whole village knows.
Hmm.
And they try to put it like as a sort of a stain on the tea house, but
I think when they're coming down to, they kind of cross paths with that Omi guy who's he goes.
He's like,
you
bro.
know,
Oh, yeah.
you just see the look of dread, just existential dread come over his face.
He's gonna be Eskimo brothers with the attitude.
yeah, that's right. I love Sonata. His performance in this he needs to
He's
get
so
an award.
good.
Yeah.
I love him.
So subtle, like even when he doesn't even change the way his face looks, it's intentional, and you can see that it still emotes something. Fantastic.
It's the camera angle. Everyone's looking up at him.
Mhm.
I never thought of that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the staging is really good, and like the cinematography, it's so.
I'm pretty sure also that when we get a wide shot, I'm pretty sure everyone else is sitting down except for him and Marco.
In this room here?
Yeah, or later on when they're talking about Crimson Sky.
Yeah. Oh, this is where they're talking about them being married off and why. You get to know more of his involvement in it too. So it's just webs within webs. And then we're back to the regents.
They're regents, and we don't know what's gonna happen, but they're not that dumb.
Nope.
Right. This guy here, he's like, hey, I ain't playing ball until you release all the quote unquote hostages.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know if that's what happened?
In real life?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did that kind of stuff all the time. But they wouldn't call them hostages. It wasn't like really apparent. It was just they wouldn't let them leave.
Right.
But they wouldn't call it that because it'd be impolite. So there was all these rules and yeah.
I know. I was like, it made me think of this one thing in the Game of Queens book, and it's like people are like, "Oh my god, the red wedding was so bad," and I'm like, "There's several historical incidences of that where it's like we're gonna have like Catholic and Protestant peace by marrying some people, and one of the worst ones was like the people got married and they all came for the wedding, and then instead of how in Game of Thrones it's just like they kill all the Starks, this was like they basically massacred the whole village of people and." The wedding party was basically in the house and they didn't realize what was going on until like early in the morning hours and they're just stuck there. It's brutal. History's brutal.
Well, and the Catholics and Protestants killed each other all the time too.
Oh yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah. So there he's reporting back to her now, essentially. Like we get to see sort of more power from her, Lady Uchiba.
Yeah, she's not impressed. Look at that
No.
face. She's like,
I know. I love how she tries to play this guy like he knows he's simping hard. He's simping hard.
Yeah. Your playthings. And she can say whatever she wants, basically, huh?
Yeah.
Like she's not under any threat.
No,
'Cause
no, she's not.
I mean, if anyone goes against her, it's like, you know, why are you like committing treason against your hair kind of thing. She knows.
That's kind of anything you guys want to talk about the
So
episode here?
that guy tries to leave
Mhm.
because he's like, hey, unless you release the hostages, I'm out of
Right.
here. And then he bounces out and tries to leave. This guy
Yep.
here, right? And he says, I'm the only one that's actually thinking about the country
Right.
Yeah.
right now. The
Mhm.
rest of you are just playing like political games and stuff. Yes, I'm alone here. Serve the realm. Yep.
I know.
And
Very
then he's
like
I'm
Game
out.
of Thrones line there.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, this is totally very Game of Thrones.
It's
Just
a very
put
move right there.
dragons and other people in here. Make
Yeah.
a couple of them. Yeah. Yep. Give a couple of them white hair, and you'll be fine.
Which is
Couple
interesting
swords.
because that's kind of like what happens to Varys in the show too. It's like kind of like,
Yep.
oh, nice
True.
try.
And this is her. This is like Darth Vader
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
joining.
And her hairstyle is very unique. Like nobody
Yeah.
else like rolls around with a hair like that.
Right.
She also wears lipstick and makeup more so than any of the other women, other than the like ladies at the tea house.
So yeah, he reports back to her. She's not happy. Forced me to
I feel
endure
that
unimaginable
makeup
things.
too is for her is a sign of power.
Yeah.
You know, because like she has that ability to wear the makeup and to dress up and you know have these particular styles to emphasize, look, I have the wealth, I have the power to do this, and I'm going to.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too, because like there's kind of like there's wives, there's courtesans, and then there's concubines, and she's like the queen bee of the concubines because she birthed the heir. So it's sort of like what they dress and you can she's like the intersection of those two worlds.
This is where she says that line about fate, I think.
Mhm.
It is. This is it. Yep.
Oh, that's a great line. By
Yeah, there it is.
compelling fate to look at me.
And he looks away.
And
while
then look
she
how
says
she
it.
leans in.
I know, she's just like, he's not even looking to it. It's like, be God
So
thought.
I could scratch its
Scratch
eyes
his
out.
eyes out.
Yep. And then
Scratch out
he's
his
like,
eyes, yeah.
oh man.
He's thinking to himself, I have paperwork to do right now.
I know, that's an interesting thing to think about, like the role of fate and the worldview of this culture. It's like, there have been a lot of times when they're like, okay, we live in Japan, there's earthquakes a lot, and it's crazy and everything, and it's sort of our fate. Like, if we die, we die. But then she's just like, no, I'm not accepting that. Kind of interesting.
But they do so much too that puts their fate in their own hands. Like when they,
Mhm.
you know, commit seppuku and stuff like that. Like they believe in fate, but they also kind of believe in picking when you die in a way.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think they're determined. It's like, I think like when they do seppuku, it's like I have reached the end of the game. Like, this is the game over. Like, I've been outmaneuvered. And then there's people that see the ones that take fate into their own hand are like Tornaga's son, like with the canon demo, and then she does it too. And it's all people that seem to be really outside of the social norm. It's fun to see, like, you know, the TV shows like do high level thematic stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Refreshing.
What was it culturally? Was it like to be speaking to his back like that? Would that be disrespectful, or what would that be, or does it matter?
They're in a private setting, so this is acceptable. But if this was in like a formal setting, then no. But this is basically, you know, behind closed doors. This is where the women wielded the majority of their power was in this setting right here.
Right.
Mhm.
This and like the Willow world and stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's just take a moment here, just hitting on the cinematography again, how her entire face is just outlined, like the left side of her cheek is outlined by his shoulder and his neck. She's literally being like a devil on his shoulder, whispering in his ear right now.
Oh
Yeah, like it's kind of like I don't think she's actually that close to him, but it's kind of a forced perspective thing. That is another really cool thing. I did really like the staging there too.
And that's a really good analogy. That she is like a devil on his shoulder. Yeah,
It's got a bit of a
Whispering in his
Faustian
ear.
bargain kind of sense to it,
Mhm.
almost.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, CLS. But this is where I got thinking about that. You know, the Taiko's not the dad, not the father of the heir, because
Me too. I thought that too.
she took it in her own hands. She says, like, so, like, you didn't roll the dice and hope this time that you had a baby. Like, it seemed to me that she took her fate into her own hands.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I got in the way they were showing her with like taking stuff. Like, what is she doing? Like,
I
what's
I don't think they'll ever reveal that though,
no.
because but she would have been watched like a hawk. Like she wouldn't have been able to just like, hey, I'm going to pop down to the club, and I'm going out with the girls later. And none of that stuff. She would have been always somebody around her, a maid or servants or something. So somebody sneaking in there to kind of like, insert the bun in the oven, it would be very hard for that to happen. Not saying it's impossible, but
Right.
But she'd be the one to pull it off.
and she would have to find a person to do it that wasn't afraid of the repercussions and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, she seems like she could pull it off. I think she's so powerful because she feels like she absolutely has like that destiny in her grip.
Mhm.
And is not just being like blown around by it or whatever.
Well,
Well,
and they
this-
had different like herbs and concoctions and medicines and remedies and things that they were doing back then too that were kind of under the table and shady. So, I mean, she could have done all kinds of things to make this happen that may not have involved having another guy, just kind of having the right set
Right.
of medicines.
Or even having it could even be someone else's baby.
Oh, like they, I don't know, that you'd pull that off like
Fake pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you have a girl, you swap it for a boy.
True.
You tell whoever is there for the actual birth.
Oh, right.
You have them killed immediately after, and you're good.
I don't know if it was like I'd have to look it up if it was like European stuff, because when like in the European thing, there were like 20 people in the room when the kid was born. Actually, there were 20 people in the room when they were conceived
Right.
on the wedding
Oh,
night to
God.
make sure that it happened, because that was very important to make sure that there was no funny
This
business.
was actually consummated. You're actually a person.
Right. Yep. They had they had like clergy inspecting them and stuff. It was crazy.
CLS, should you watch this? Yes.
Oh, this is good CLS. Like, it's a good show. Like, it's
Yeah.
refreshing.
I'd be surprised if it falls off a cliff. I really would.
Well, the intensity is just ramping up.
Oh,
after-
yeah, I know. I
especially the
knew
last
this
episode.
was like the sort of like the plateau of like the second act, which was why I'm like I'm okay with it being slow because I know it's gonna get crazier. But yeah.
For this scene, I like the changing the lighting as she walks past him, and she shadows him.
She
Now I'm
casts
gonna-
a shadow over
yeah.
him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's in the dark. It's all of this is just well plotted out, planned. And he looks like right there, like when you come into the room and your dog's wrecked something, and she wants to act like it wasn't her, and she looks at the wall, like that's what he's doing right now. Like I don't know who made that mess, but it wasn't me. He's staring off into the corner. Doesn't want to look at her. Maybe she won't notice. And just like a great line. Oh, what?
I also like this. So they stop him on the road, and instead of having this big battle and it costs a lot of money, they just show the aftermath.
Yeah.
And so it's cheaper to do, but you still get the point.
Right.
And it saves time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that we do
And it
get
kind of
payoffs.
gets the sense of like the whole like we're playing this Game of Thrones kind of thing where it's like But the honor code is there, so the guy just knows, okay, I lost. And then you just see.
Yeah. This is where we talk about Crimson Sky, right?
Crimson Sky.
Yeah.
I like his battle outfit. It's really cool. I like his little hat.
He has lots of good outfits.
Yeah, he does. His drip is fire.
Yeah, this is his little command post, and it was extremely mobile. You just pick this up and put it down wherever you went, with tents and stuff.
So Gooch, do you think this was ever actually his plan to do Crimson Sky?
I think so. I think, see, like without going into the next episode, and
Right.
like it's already going closer to 11. So I mean, my thoughts are like, I think he has this all planned out, and I think when like at the end of the next episode, I think he's strategizing how he's going to lay out the plans when he gets into where are they going back to Ahsoka?
Osaka?
What city?
Osaka.
Ahsoka. Yeah, Ahsoka. Okay.
Ahsoka is
Ahsoka.
a show
Ah!
we're not talking about.
Yeah.
We don't talk about.
Yeah. I think he has all these steps laid out. I think he knew his brother they were going to eventually reach out to his brother. I think he was anticipating that. I don't think he was like, I don't think he knows about his son attacking him at the end of the. I mean, I know I'm leaping ahead, but I think because he like throughout the whole what like 6 episodes, he's like 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of everyone else. So I think right now he's like they're kind of catching up. The steps are kind of happening, and now he's kind of laying out the steps and like going over the pros and cons of, if I do this step next, what are the circumstances here, and like I think he's laying it all out in his head, and that's where you see him throw the rock, like to like solidify his plan. I think that's my just general thoughts. But
well, I do think that his son is like the Richter from Total Recall, basically fucking up his program.
Yeah,
at every step.
Yeah, he's the wrench in the cog. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's kind of a dumbass.
Yeah, he's definitely a puppet. Too, he gets played all the time.
Yeah, I really like the next episode because it kind of gets into the like parallels between them, and how you're like wondering. Okay, I kept hoping that the son would like kind of like get his shit together, but he doesn't.
Well,
and then you really realize it's like, okay, Toranaga is the product of his upbringing. Like he was like, they make a big deal to say that he was a hostage and how much time he spent as a hostage. And then you see in the next episode, like more of his background, and you're like, okay, he is the way he is because like of what he went through. It's like the nature versus nurture thing.
Well, meanwhile, his son's out there just rocking it.
Right, right. Well, and that's what the person that comes to see him, the brothel owner or the tea house owner, she says that fate is like a sword. It's not meant. You have to be skilled in order to wield it correctly, and only certain people can do that. What she's saying is our trials and tribulations and struggles of what made us capable of being good fate swords people, versus other people that haven't gone through that, like his son.
And I think, like obviously in the next when she's talking to him, she calls him out because she sees the pieces being moved by him, like some of them anyway, on the board, especially in the village. She's seeing things happening and calls him out on it because like she could have she's like her mindset. She thinks that he's gonna win this battle still.
Right.
Where everyone else is pretty much given up.
Well,
like they're either going to fight or die.
Toranaga also has a great line in there to his own son about like people who want to go. They're the most eager for battle are the ones who've never been in one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like even with all that knowledge and experience, even Toranaga realizes there's some sort of, or like there's some aspects of fate that you don't play with.
Well, and yet the kid still goes in to do a battle without thinking of the circumstance or the outcome. So at the end of that episode, right? So that's where those lines kind of mesh together. Like
She's
he
a
just
sweet
doesn't.
summer child.
Yeah, he doesn't soak in the knowledge that's given to him.
Hmm.
Right. Also, what would have been the outcome of that? Say he was successful and he cut that guy down. What would that solve? Would those other
Ah.
people immediately come over to his father's side then, or would they be like, "Nah, you killed our lord, so now we're gonna it's war right here."
I know,
Yeah.
and it's very like what he did is very outside of the code. It's not
Right.
Bushido.
Right.
It's not ganky, like Gray would
Well,
say.
the whole concept of like Bushido is not really an ideal at this time. There was a
Okay.
lot more people would
Okay.
just surrender and like turn on people and switch sides and allegiances and stuff. All of the whole code of Bushido didn't get codified until after the country was unified. And the reason they had
That's
to do it
interesting.
is because you had all these samurai that were walking around armed, but they had nobody really to fight anymore.
Mm.
So it was kind of like knights in Europe when there was like, once everything kind of got like peaceful, you had all these people trained for war generations
do.
worth, and there's nobody left to fight. So what do? You send them to the Middle East on a crusade to get them out of there so they'd stop tearing stuff up. But they didn't have a crusade to go on, so they had to put these rules in place to kind of tamp down that violence that was
cool.
prevalent during this time.
Sort of like
Yes.
the,
Yep.
was it like the chivalry code or chivalry code?
Right, exactly. It got more codified, and he's correct. All of these family crests are still in use today.
That is very cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And yet, I don't think anyone looks comfortable at all ever in this show.
I have
Like,
to say,
really?
it would be pouring down rain, and they're in all of their attire, and then they're in the same attire, and I'm like, do you guys ever dry off? That's got to be really suffocating to be wet all the time, because there's a lot of rain. Or was it just me?
I love the stoicism in the show.
Well, also they
Yeah.
shot this in BC mostly. Some of this
Yeah.
could be in Japan
That's
somewhere or
DC,
whatever.
it's DC, really.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I would have said like Pacific Northwest, but wow.
yeah,
Yeah, it
BC, British Columbia
Yeah.
is where they filmed it at.
Oh, BC. I thought
Yeah,
you said
BC.
DC.
No, BC.
I totally misheard that. I'm like,
No,
what do you-
BC, British Columbia.
Okay,
So
never mind.
Yeah, but it is sort of like on the same parallel as
it is. It's very
Japan, so-
it's very Japanese. Like this, like I couldn't tell. I didn't know when I
Yeah.
saw this. I thought it was in Japan, but
Yeah.
with you look at the prosthetics and their hair pieces and all that stuff, and it's raining on them. That's gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
Wearing all that crap, and then but the makeup is so good, it's hard to tell. A lot of the older ones, you could tell that guy's wearing like a little skull cap thing, but it's really hard to tell in this one.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're almost at 2 hours, and we can't do episode 7. I don't think tonight.
Yeah, there's so much to go over
Yeah.
on that.
It's a big episode too.
Seven's a big one, a doozy.
Yeah.
You want to take your time on that one.
Mhm. But what I thought is we could talk about, a little bit about the show itself and that the reaction it's getting. It has higher overall ratings from fans than Game of Thrones had in its season 1.
That's good.
The premiere I think got 9 million views. The first, which is for today, day and age, that's very good. And it's a show that's mostly in Japanese with subtitles.
I know that is very surprising.
I was going to mention that too.
Like subs, not dubs.
It does dub, and I haven't watched any in dubs because
I'm with you there.
I can't bring
Subtitles
myself
all
to
the
do
way.
it.
Subs, team subs, and team weekly model. Forget the binge model. Get that out of here.
Yeah, I want to binge it, but like just because there's nothing good to watch,
No.
I end up watching nature shows.
I'll also
See,
say
I'm hardcore. I do closed caption and subtitles at the same time.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So I'll just say I popped onto IMDb just to see kind of how the ratings have been holding up.
Yeah.
And it's never dropped below 8.2 with pretty much every episode other than I think one is like an 8.5 or a 9.
That's pretty
somewhere in
crazy.
between there. So it's holding like really consistently as like a very high rating.
Yeah, I think if you watched episode 1 and were kind of like, I don't know, it's probably going to go woke. This isn't for me, and then you bounced out. that might be
Mhm.
like to account for that, but because honestly, the show really doesn't get real good until like the third episode. In my opinion, it's good, but it doesn't start to get really good until the third
Mhm.
episode,
Hmm.
to where you're like, okay, I'm fully invested now. I'm all in, both feet.
I could see that. I think what helps too is that it is like a mini series. So there's 10 episodes. So it's definitely going to have an ending. And you know, you're not going to get like rickrolled into some like, oh, this is so good. And you love this. And season 2 is like mediocre. Season 3 is crap. And then they
Mhm.
just cancel it. Or like there's no ending to the story and they just drag it on and on.
Well, this doesn't have any story plotline threads that don't go anywhere like most modern shows do these days. They
Yeah.
they
Right.
set something up and they never do anything with it. This doesn't really do that. It resolves those mini plot lines as they go,
Yeah.
and so yeah.
Lots of poop. Probably lots of poop too. Yeah, you're right. Everywhere. The dub version isn't as good. So for the dubs, who does the voices? Do you guys know?
I don't know.
Hopefully
Maybe-
something better than anime
honestly,
voice actors.
I wouldn't trust it, to be honest, just because like what they're catching with dub versions of anime.
Oh yeah, they
they're-
how they
they're-
wokeify all the anime.
Yeah, they're trying to wokeify it, and the Japanese are just getting pissed off with it,
Mhm.
and that's causing a big
a lot
rift.
of like non-Japanese fans are, because my brother is a huge weeb and he complains about it, and he said like
Mhm.
it's gotten to the point where like they're like screw like Crunchyroll and stuff, like we're just doing fan
Mhm.
subs.
Who's the one voice actor who's in everything? He just just let him dub everything over. It's actually no, I take that back. It's all dubbed by Danny DeVito.
I just don't understand. I mean, because part of the interesting part of the show is, as Blackthorn, you can't understand what's being said.
Yeah,
and then-
exactly.
so-
There's something there, and then like the way that they translate where Mariko
Mhm.
starts making him sound better, he's like, no.
I don't know. But I haven't seen it, so it's kind of like, saying weed's bad for you. And if I've never smoked it before, how do I know? So, but I had that conversation with somebody. I
Oh,
was
did
like,
you?
I was like, weed's bad. They were like, have you ever had it? I was like, no. And they were like, well, how do you know then? And I was like, you got me there, bro. So, but it's the same thing. So I don't know. I have to go back and look at it and see. Maybe it does work, but I don't see how it's as good.
Oh yeah, it's 93%. I think is the rating it's getting. 9.3 out of 10 on IMDb. People are loving this show, and we're like, according to Hollywood and Disney especially, like we're ignorant and probably bigoted for the most part, and we have to have stuff spoon fed to us. And apparently that's not that true, because we will go and watch a show that's based in Japan in Japanese and we love it.
Yeah.
Just give us something good and we will watch it. Don't try to, don't tell us that we're bad for not liking it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You're
I
bad,
think-
Zach.
I'm bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Teach me.
it also has, I mean, it has really good female characters in it too,
Yeah.
that are
Mhm.
interesting and, have
The thing that-
backstories and whatever.
The
And they
thing
have
about the
depth.
series is, yes, I was just going to say that the depth and the dialogue throughout this series is incredible.
Yeah.
That's-
The
it's-
subtlety, the like,
yeah,
we don't need to tell you everything. We show you things.
Well, it's also
Yeah.
these are female characters who don't bend the
George, don't
world
eat that,
around them.
please.
They fit into like the rules of the world that's established.
Absolutely.
they
Well, but
adapt,
they
yeah.
do bend the world
Well, they
at
bend
the
the world.
right
They
way,
do. They
and
bend it
it's
in
so
accordance
subtle.
with like the rules of like
They work within their world. This isn't
Yeah,
like
Exactly.
like I said, it's not this petulant fighting or I'm just going to reject the rules. It's like it's so slick. It's so slick.
How they
Mhm.
wield their power is realistic. It's not
Yeah.
like I'm beating up 300-pound dudes and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's more in line with A, how it would have really historically happened, and B, the way that people back then and even now kind of get stuff done.
We're also not spending like whole scenes trying to validate the feelings of our female characters.
I like
Right.
Toranaga just because like I don't have time for this nonsense.
Yeah.
Twice now.
He's like,
Just love it, like,
what?
Enough of this nonsense.
But,
Anyway.
but at the same time, the feelings that they are displaying are so deep, and they connect with
Mhm.
everybody. I think anybody from any culture can watch
Oh
this
yeah.
and be like, okay, these two
Absolutely.
people like each other, this kind of stuff, and put yourself in their shoes, but not actually be a self-insert into the
Mhm.
show and be like, how would I feel, if I was Mariko and Toranaga was like, yeah, take this guy you like to the brothel. Like I said, when I saw that, I almost like audibly like gasped. I was like, oh crap. That sucks for her.
Yeah.
It's like I definitely had the same reaction, like, oh damn.
Or even the part where, like, I mean, as a girl, I mean, you have self-insert moments into the women's lives because you're like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that, where you've made sacrifices, and I mean, you're like, ugh, can this be done? Like, I mean, let's be honest. Like,
So wait,
there's
can we clarify, Squeakus? So you had to take somebody to a brothel and translate?
take to a brothel, or just I've been like, never mind, we won't go.
But you had
there.
to translate for him. Is that
Yes.
what the?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. That's what we'll call it, translating. Yes. Translating.
Translate.
Yes. Lots of nonverbal communication to translate.
So there is a sequel novel, but it's not a direct sequel. It's same author, and he goes back and it's about the first Toranaga Shogun. It's I guess they're the second in line, so it's a bit of a jump ahead. And it was written in '93, so it's not close to the time when this is written too. But I can see them doing that. Gaijin is the next book if they want to adapt that, because
Well,
we have some of it tied in already.
kind of reading about this, a beautiful young French woman forever torn between ambition and desire. So is she the main character in this? Because Gaijin means just foreigner, basically.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the other one people
And
talk
it's
about.
not a derogatory term or anything.
Right. No, it's not. And Kevin brings it up here too, that one. And then as well as Taipan is the other one I've heard people talk about.
Yeah,
being
that seems like a
adapted.
more interesting storyline.
Taipan was written before
Yeah.
Shogun, and it's about like the British Trading Company in China. And
Hong
it's
Kong,
got,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's Hong Kong, and it's got two British officers that like are vying against each other and it kind of thing. I haven't read it. I just saw like the back cover synopsis or whatever.
I feel like I need to read this.
Yeah.
I want to
Um,
go pick up the original Shogun book first.
Mhm.
Has anyone else gone back and watched the original miniseries?
The
No, not yet.
1980. I don't
Yeah.
want to get them all
No.
mixed up, but I plan on doing it after this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll go back because I saw it a long time ago and I didn't see all of it. I just saw like bits and pieces. So
The actress who plays Mariko, she was the first Asian woman to win Best Actress.
Wow.
Yeah.
in the original,
Yeah.
so that actress kind of fell on hard times later on in life, and she wound up having to do like an adult video in 2011 when she was 58 years
Oh
old
my
in
god.
order to make
Whoa.
money. Yeah.
Oh, so what's her name?
Hold on. Let's see. I got it here
Huh?
somewhere.
It's on IMDb somewhere.
It's no wait. That's not Usami Fuji. Is actually Lady Fuji. That's the character's
It's
name.
probably all pixeled out anyway.
Yeah.
I looked into that, and it's actually very sad for her because she's part of an epidemic. They're saying of people who die alone. She died poor and by herself.
Right.
And,
Sad.
and which goes against the Japanese traditions, but it's
Yeah, nobody
happening
claimed
more
her.
and
Nobody
more.
claimed her ashes when she
Yeah.
died.
That's
So that
sad.
nobody claimed her body. So they wound up cremating her, and then nobody came and picked it up. Even though she does have like distant relatives or something,
Oh,
That's
which
rough.
which is kind of sad. But yeah. So hopefully that is not the fate of some of these other people.
No,
Um,
that's too bad.
yeah.
Let's go around, give our ratings, and then if you have something coming up, then let's promote it. So, Gooch,
what's up?
what you doing?
I'm here.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks,
Yes,
buddy.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
Um,
birthday.
Oh, Jesus. You're going to have to come back to me.
Yeah. Oh, 5 minutes again?
Yeah. No, I thank you for having me on again. As always, it's a blast. This show does rock. I love this show. The episode 6 was okay. I think it was probably one of the weaker episodes. Like, and it's like when I say weaker, it's like it's not as good as the others so far. Like it's not a bad episode, it's just not as strong as the other ones. Like episode 7 just was really, really good. So yeah, like I would give this episode, if I was going to rate it at a 10, I would probably still give it about probably an 8
Right.
out of 10. So yeah.
And what's going on your channel?
Oh, yeah, tomorrow night I will be doing we'll be continue to do the review of Cyberpunk Edge Runners episode 2. So I'm looking forward to that. This weekend I'll be working on my animation, so I'm going to be putting that together. So hopefully I'll have something up. Hope to have a teaser out before the fall. I'm hoping. I'll see how this goes, but yeah, I'm working on an animation, and then got a lot of things planned for the future. So yeah, I'm just Diabolical Souls presents, and yeah, everything's going great. And then of course next Tuesday is Scavenger's Reign. We continue to do that, so it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it.
Your link is in the chat here, and we have 32 people watching on Twitter apparently. So if you're on Twitter, it'd be totally cool if you came over here and subscribe to all these people on this panel. That would be awesome. But yeah, you've been killing with animation stuff. Gooch, you're at what, almost 6K subs already?
Yeah, I'm close to 6,000, and still climbing. Like I just checked not too long ago, I'm getting about a sub every 10 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's the animation thing's working. I love doing the animation reviews. So I have plans for after Scavenger's Reign and stuff planned for the summer and stuff like that for animation reviews and discussions. And so yeah, it's been awesome. I really enjoy it. And the people that are like, the big thing is the people coming on like Uzax and everyone else like Vex and amateur analyst Dupenzo, Andrew, Bagface. If I miss someone, like just shout me out. But people coming on to do these reviews with us or with me, it's been a blast, like having these perspectives and conversations about these stories and everything that's happening. So it's been awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it's been great. It makes it, I feel like I get anxious before a show, and then when it starts happening, I get really excited, and it's a lot of fun. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, sure. You're and I want to say quickly too before we move on to other people. It's been a rough week for a lot of people. There's been some really sad stuff on the news. My personal life, I lost a friend, and so I don't know, but I still look forward to coming to this with you people, and you guys make it so much easier to get through those things. Just coming in, getting to hang out in the evening with everyone who shows up to watch and the panel. So I want to make sure I say that.
yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Me too.
Yeah, and if you are feeling really down, like you definitely should watch Coyote Ugly. That would cheer you up. So I mean, there's always that. So
I need to do a clip for that now. I need to have a Coyote Ugly clip. I'll find
Gotta have
one.
an intro clip.
Gotta have one.
that's always a pick me upper.
Sketch. You're doing things, places.
Hey. Yeah, I've been kind of laying low for the last couple weeks just because with work I've been a little bit buried. We're dealing with a couple of copyright strikes on YouTube's back end just with all the new things that they're introducing. But in the meantime, I've just been laying low for a little bit. I've got a few short script ideas for some skits or original concepts that I want to try to put pen to paper to. next couple of days and start trying to find a couple of crew members to help out with shooting some of that stuff so I can gear myself up for when I need it later.
That's cool. That's yeah, good for you. And you do a lot of work, like you're editing behind the scenes for people too that people don't really know about. So you contribute a lot.
Yeah, still gotta get a day job to keep the lights on.
Yeah, we all do. I wanted to thank you for coming on, and everyone else's info is in the description except for yours. I'll have it in by the end of the show.
Well, I was kind of like a last minute tag in for this, so understandable.
Yeah, but thanks for
You know,
on no notice jumping in. I appreciate that a lot.
No, listen, I try to do my part to keep up on a lot of these shows that come out, because I know, like, with the way things move on the internet these days, something will be out of the news and the discussion within like a week sometimes. So it pays to be on top of it a lot of times.
Yeah, I want to say too, like I've never really done a episode review show before, so timing these things out is interesting. I thought we could do two tonight, but there's just you can't. So we will try to get better. I'll get better at this as we go through. I think hopefully won't get worse. I promise that. I'll be late probably, but I won't get worse.
Well, if the show kind of sucked, it'd be easy to go through too.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, you should know. Like we do a 25-minute review, and it takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And this show gives you so much to look at too, and so much to talk about.
mhm.
Like, and the dialogue in the show is there's no wasted dialogue either. There's no like just talking for talking's sake. Everything's important. So
It's like the Willow World women, like every little thing.
Well, there's no
Yes.
wasted movement either. Like even the
Mhm.
unspoken words, like just the glances, like even the scenery
Mhm.
sometimes
touch of
plays
a hand.
into what they're saying.
No cut.
Yeah,
goes
that garden
unspecified.
stuff hit me hard. I'm not gonna lie. When the gardener died with the pheasant episode, and like, and then when Blackthorn goes out and it's like hugging the rock, like that got to me.
Mhm.
yep, it does, and you could see in him like his pain because he's done this by accident.
I think that's kind of him like starting to realize the way this works.
Yeah. Lady B, what's going on with you and the White Cloaks?
I have no idea. I'm hoping that we can do a chill stream in the near future. I have some exciting announcements, like nothing with like doing like YouTube or anything, but I want to make it on that channel because it's stuff with that. It all started over there, so hopefully, like maybe this weekend, I need to talk to Will when he gets back. I know Will, you're probably going to listen to this on the way back, so I'll see you soon, man.
Tina, thanks for
But-
coming.
Yeah, I don't know. I just finished a kitchen remodel, so I'm exhausted and I'm dealing with the fibromyalgia kind of hangover from that, and just been trying to think of something fun I can do because I don't have the mental energy right now with a lot of stuff going on. But I was thinking of like I had so much fun doing the Father Christmas letters from Tolkien and reading that I thought,
that was
well,
great.
what if I did some of my favorite books as a kid? And they're short. Like I don't know if anyone's ever read Cat Wings, but it's got great illustrations and I love it. But I might do a read along of that too. I was thinking.
Lucy Lou makes me feel better about my lazy eye.
That's a great idea, Lady B. That's awesome.
I just like it, and it's something that really got my like imagination going as a kid. But we'll see. We'll see.
Those are great shows too. The Tolkien ones you did.
Oh yeah, they're so fun. I'm just so like I've had a lot of stuff in my personal life that's bad stuff and good stuff, but it's just a lot to process. And unfortunately, having this stupid disability kind of like makes it hard to do streams and stay like with it. I do have Biden moments occasionally. So
No, you don't. No, you don't, Lady B. No.
Yeah, how many stairs have you fallen up?
I'm not gonna answer that question. I
It's
appreciate
not
the support, though.
falling. It's testing gravity to make sure it's still working. She's doing us all a service.
Yeah.
See if she's helping us.
Yeah, I've had some
Mhm.
moments. It's mostly just being like just so tired I don't like remember my phone number and stuff like that. But it's okay. I'm on the mend, so
Who remembers phone numbers anymore?
who does? Yeah, seriously. That's
Yeah,
really
that's what
bad.
your phone's for.
Me.
That's what a contacts list is there for.
I memorized pi to like the 40th digit. I like numbers. It's me.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
You could make it up, but I wouldn't know. So
Mhm.
I'll take your word for it. Speaking of that, Squeaka, what's going on with you? You're popping in places.
Yeah, I got to go on Pop's show on Tuesday to talk about some strange movie from the 80s. That was fun. I think they're trying to get me to do it every Tuesday, but I don't know about that. I'm here and I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me. I finally get to be on a Zach stream. I always feel special
Yay.
when I get invited. Like, oh my god, it's Zach's my friend
Oh,
from.
yeah, right.
I like fangirl for a little
Oh.
bit, fall to the floor. Oh my god, Zach! Just like that. Exactly.
It's not true.
You're getting
Well,
excited.
I love.
I
having
need
you on.
another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It's not like, oh my god, Zach's. It's more like, oh my god.
Oh.
Now needs another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, I love. Thanks for hanging out with me. Things are crazy busy here, and stuff's going on. So it's nice to just hang out and chill. And the show's really awesome. So, I mean,
It's so nice to have something that's just good. Like you can trust is going to stay good. And yeah, sure, there's the back of your mind where it's
yes,
like,
this is what
it's
I'm
just-
here for.
yes,
that's it.
yes, yeah. It's. I mean, and it's so well done. Like I was just like I said, I'm a Chinese drama, Korean drama, whatever you want to call them, kind of nut too. Anyways, so I mean, it's just. It's also a good break from those kind of shows that I normally watch because they have good plot lines, but they're kind of over the top sometimes.
Mhm.
And the historical aspect of this and just the down to earthness is like, oh, this is nice. No, she could not stop that.
No, she could. So this is so true. Before this show, and had I recorded it early, it would have been better. But she did sing "Happy Birthday" to Gooch.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it may have moved while she was singing, but yeah, she has a great voice. And
Time to set up that
No, make
Fiverr
me
account.
snort at you. I'll snort. I'll make pig
Do it.
noises at you.
do it. Not like Ned Beatty.
You're hitting all the marks tonight.
Exactly. There's a market for that too, unfortunately.
Okay.
I do have a question for you, Squeaka. Have you watched Chicken Nugget yet?
Chicken Nugget? No, I have not. I haven't
It's
even
on-
watched Sopranos or Game of Thrones. I mean, like my watch space is very minimal.
Well, it's Korean. It's on Netflix. And
No,
it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
What's it called?
Chicken Nugget.
Is it historical costume? Okay,
I certainly hope not.
No.
I did the costume dramas, like either the like fantasy about the like immortals or whatever, or the historical ones. Usually one with the big fancy costumes and the off the chain kung fu, you're like, yeah, they're attached to some kind of rope. But yeah, I mean, I can check it out though.
It's Vex and I have been watching it. It's hilarious. It's over the top. It's based on a webtoon. So
Okay. I'll watch it. I'll watch anything these days. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to up my like watch quotient, but we'll balance that with work too and crazy stuff.
it's just funny humor. Like it's really well done. It's funny. So
All right, I'll write
in
down
for a treat.
chicken nuggies.
Chicken Nuggies.
Watch it.
Oh, there's a trailer for this, is there?
Thanks for the heads up.
Okay, it's a crazy trailer. And last but not least, MVP Shieldwall.
Hey,
Hey,
Daddy Shieldwall.
hey, thanks for having me on
Dude, thanks for being here.
to talk about this. And I apologize if I kind of got excited and talked a little too much.
No.
But it was
No. It's great having you on here. Like it's incredible. You next level stuff. So I appreciate you.
yeah, and it's great being on a stream with everybody. I don't think I've streamed with Sketch before. I
I
can't.
was here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
but-
okay, yeah, that's what. But my memory's so bad. I'm
That's
kind of
cool.
old. Yeah, I don't think I'm as old as Squeaka. I'm not 89 or whatever.
No.
I'm 187 for the
Yeah,
record.
187. But it's always good being here. I'm going to be on Roman of the Empire's show tomorrow at 5 Pacific time, and we're going to be going over our favorite metal bands from 2000 to 2024.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes! Metal!
Well, yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I don't really listen to metal that much, especially not the new stuff. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Also, I don't think I'm not going to be able to be on next week. unfortunately.
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, I'll be out of town, so I'm sorry about that. I really do want to come back for more of this. I really enjoy it, and so had a lot of fun. It's a great show. And also to the chat for all the great comments in the chat, and Whitey and everybody helping me out with the pronunciations and stuff, because I get confused between the real world people and the characters in the show a little bit. But,
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
But anyway, also I'd like to shout out Moeka Hoshi. She is the actress that plays Lady Fuji.
Oh hell yeah!
In case she's like watching
Yes.
this somehow.
Yes.
And yeah, so she's my favorite character in the show just because of the way her face is, what she can convey in her face. So it's great.
She was excellent in Coyote Ugly.
You have to go watch that one now to see.
Wait, what year did Coyote Ugly come out? 2000?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, it should have been like 5. So
Oh my god, I'm so old.
Welcome back, low spec.
anyways, yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks to the chat, and it was great streaming with everybody, especially being on here with Lady B and Squeaka. It's always
Thank
always
you
fun.
everyone in chat. I don't say it enough, but we really appreciate you.
Yeah, we really, really, really do. And Shieldwall, when you say going out of town, are you going to Fuji's place and hiding in the bushes or what? Like, is that,
No, not at all.
That's pretty.
No, I'm gonna be in Vegas. So
oh, nice.
sweet.
That'll be
Nice. Vegas is fun.
Yeah. I'm going to play this clip one more time. Then we'll come back and we'll do a traditional out. But
all right.
I like this one. So here we go.
Hey, Captain. America, fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah, America, fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way.
Steve Rogers, baby.
Yes.
Steve Rogers. Squeaka, did you gift more memberships?
Thank you.
My cat did it. Yeah, my cat
Thank
did
you.
it.
Your
I
cat
thought you
did
had a
it.
goal. You were supposed to be like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just trying to be helpful.
Thank you, Squeaka. That's amazing.
Thank you, Squeaka. We love
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Do you want to play a clip? What clip do you want?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I know. My
What?
huge.
Your huge?
My huge.
All right, here it is.
Enough. I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me. Gandalf? Not the wandering wizard, per se.
I thought that was Flaccid's favorite.
The same.
The same.
It should be.
Same.
It should be.
The same.
I want to say thanks everyone for coming to hang out tonight. Thank you, Squeaka, for your generous gifts.
Thanks for letting me do it.
No. Anytime, Squeaka. I'll harass you more often. I put a link in the chat to Josh's channel because he did a show yesterday that I thought was excellent, covering there was a suicide in the comic world, and I didn't know much about it, but he really covered it well, went to depth, and sort of took it all apart, and really it. That's when you should really go find his stream and watch it from last night. It was really good, and it's a horrible thing that happened that I didn't know anything about, but we should all know more about that. We should know how to help each other out too, like reach out and help, and if you need help, ask for it, or if you think someone else needs help, just ask them, do they need help? It's just not it's a rough watch, but yeah, go give Josh a watch, please. And yeah. Going from that to this, I'll play you guys out with a traditional song. Thanks, everyone. Love you guys. And
Later, everybody.
Good night.
So long.
Yeah. Respect to the trans community. And fuck you, trans folks.
Trans people are my friends. Trans folks gonna catch these hands. Trans people are my friends. So respect them for we're going in. Trans people are my friends. Trans folks gonna catch these hands. Trans people are my friends. So respect on your fucking mouth. I'll knock you out. I'll knock you out. Transforms on your fucking mouth. I'll knock you out. You better watch out. Transfix alarm, my friends.